More than 15,000 years ago, someone made a decision that would change the future of an entire continent. They looked beyond the horizon and chose to travel into a world no human had ever seen. During the last ice age, the world looked completely different. Huge glaciers trapped enormous amounts of water, exposing coastlines and creating opportunities that no longer exist today. For thousands of years, coastal communities learned that the ocean was more than a barrier. It became their greatest source of food, water, and survival. One explorer noticed something others ignored. Tiny islands appeared beyond the horizon. If land existed there, perhaps even more land waited farther away. No blueprints existed. No one had ever built a vessel for such a dangerous journey. Everything depended on observation, teamwork, and courage. They packed only what they could carry. Every tool, every piece of food, and every decision could determine whether they would survive. As the shoreline disappeared behind them, they understood something terrifying. There might be no way back. For days, nothing surrounded them except water. The endless horizon tested their determination more than any hunt ever could. Nature reminded them that the ocean showed mercy to no one. Every wave threatened to erase their journey forever. Then, just as hope seemed lost, something appeared in the distance. A new land, a new beginning, a discovery that would eventually shape the future of the Americas. After days surrounded by endless water, solid ground finally appeared beneath their feet. They had reached a land no one in their tribe had ever seen before. Everything looked different. New forests stretched for miles, unfamiliar rivers flowed toward the sea, and wildlife unlike anything they had ever hunted filled the land. The first priority was simple: find fresh water. Without it, the journey would end before new life could even begin. Every step into the forest revealed new opportunities and new dangers. Survival depended on understanding an unfamiliar environment. Food supplies from the raft would not last forever. Their future depended on learning how to hunt animals they had never encountered before. Before another night arrived, they needed protection from rain, cold winds, and predators. A temporary shelter quickly became their new home. Soon they discovered they were not alone. Giant animals still ruled this ancient world, reminding them that humans were not always the strongest creatures. Nature became their greatest teacher. By watching animals, they learned where to find food, fresh water, and safe places to travel. As the days passed, fear slowly turned into confidence. What began as a dangerous expedition was becoming a permanent home. Without realizing it, these pioneers had begun one of the greatest migrations in human history. Their descendants would eventually spread across an entire continent, shaping the future of the Americas for thousands of years to come. The coastline became their natural highway. Instead of traveling through dangerous forests, they followed the sea, where food, water, and direction were easy to find. The ocean provided an endless source of food. Fishing required less energy than chasing large animals and helped families survive through every season. Soon they faced another challenge. Rivers blocked their path, but the skills they had learned at sea made crossing these waterways possible. Every new region introduced unfamiliar animals. Some became valuable sources of food, while others were dangerous predators that demanded caution. Not every hunt succeeded. Each failure taught important lessons about teamwork, patience, and understanding animal behavior. The greatest tool humans possessed was not the spear, it was knowledge. Every generation passed its experience to the next, making the entire community stronger. As families grew, small groups began exploring farther inland. Slowly, humans spread across landscapes that had never before known their footsteps. Winter tested every skill they had learned. Those who planned ahead survived. Those who did not face impossible hardships. Instead of staying in one place forever, many communities followed migrating animals, allowing them to find food throughout the changing seasons. Over countless generations, these early explorers became the ancestors of many indigenous peoples across North America. Their journeys helped shape the history of a continent long before written records, leaving a legacy that archaeologists continue to study today. Years passed. Children were born into a land their parents had once feared. To them, this new world was simply home. With every generation, tools improved. Sharper blades meant faster hunting. safer food preparation, and greater chances of survival. The rivers became natural pathways into the heart of the continent, revealing forests, valleys, and endless opportunities. The explorers soon discovered enormous hunting grounds where food could support growing communities for many seasons. Nothing was wasted. Every successful hunt provided food, clothing, shelter, and tools, ensuring that precious resources lasted as long as possible. Humans were no longer the only hunters. Powerful predators constantly reminded them that survival required teamwork and constant awareness. As more communities spread across the land, they began sharing ideas, tools, and valuable resources instead of competing for everything. Life followed the rhythm of nature. Every season demanded new skills, careful planning, and constant adaptation. Generation after generation, people explored farther than anyone had imagined, slowly reaching nearly every corner of the continent. What began with a courageous journey across unfamiliar waters became one of humanity's greatest migrations. The descendants of these early travelers lived across North America for thousands of years, building diverse cultures and histories whose stories continue to be uncovered through archaeology and preserved by indigenous communities today. Beyond the coastline stretched forests unlike anything their ancestors had ever known. Every tree, every plant, and every animal offered both opportunity and uncertainty. Survival wasn't only about hunting. Learning which plants were safe to eat became just as important as mastering the spear. As seasons passed, temporary camps slowly became stronger and more comfortable. Better shelters meant healthier families and safer children. The rivers revealed hidden pathways deep into the continent. Following flowing water often led to food, fresh water, and new places to explore. Some of the largest animals on Earth still walked these lands. The explorers learned that patience was often wiser than taking unnecessary risks. Fire transformed everyday life. It provided warmth, protection, cooked food, and became the heart of every community. Knowledge survived because it was shared. Every lesson prepared the next generation for challenges that still lay ahead. Curiosity drove them higher into mountains, where breathtaking landscapes revealed entirely new environments waiting to be explored. As human populations expanded, different groups occasionally crossed paths. Peaceful exchanges allowed valuable ideas and resources to spread farther than any individual could travel. One courageous journey across open water became the beginning of thousands of years of exploration, adaptation, and discovery. Although many details remain unknown, archaeological evidence continues to reveal how early migrations helped shape the human story across the Americas. Beyond the forest stretched endless grasslands. Rich hunting grounds promised food for growing families and encouraged people to explore even farther. Animals knew where to find water and food. By following their trails, humans discovered safe routes across unfamiliar landscapes. Some journeys lasted weeks. Others lasted months. Each new destination expanded humanity's understanding of an enormous continent. Changing climates demanded better protection. Simple improvements in clothing helped people survive colder regions and harsher winters. Long before maps existed, people learned to navigate using the sky. The sun, stars, and changing seasons became reliable guides. Towering mountains blocked their path, but determination pushed them onward. Every obstacle revealed another unexplored world beyond. Great rivers became lifelines. They supplied fresh water, fish, transportation, and fertile land where families could thrive. As communities grew larger, people began specializing in different skills. Cooperation made daily life safer and more efficient. Without written language, history survived through stories. Around every campfire, each generation remembered the courage of those who first crossed unknown waters. The identity of the first people who crossed into the Americas remains one of archaeology's greatest mysteries. Yet their remarkable journeys changed human history forever, laying the foundations for thousands of years of diverse cultures across the continent. Their courage reminds us that every great discovery begins with someone willing to explore beyond the horizon. After months of traveling, the explorers reached an enormous freshwater lake. It offered fish, clean drinking water, and another safe place where families could build new homes. Fishing became more efficient. Instead of relying only on spears, people invented simple traps that could catch food even while they rested. There were no paper maps, But every important river, mountain, and valley was carefully remembered and passed from one generation to the next. Rather than staying in one place, many families moved with the changing seasons, always searching for the best sources of food and safety. Not all stone was the same. Finding stronger rock meant building sharper tools that lasted longer and made hunting much easier. Each valley opened another path into unexplored territory. The continent seemed endless, filled with places no human had ever visited. At night, the stars became trusted companions. They guided travelers across unfamiliar landscapes and inspired stories remembered for generations. No one survived alone. Every member of the community contributed, creating stronger families through cooperation and shared responsibility. Over thousands of years, different groups followed different routes. Some stayed near the coast, while others journeyed deep into the interior, gradually reaching every corner of the continent. The story of the first people to reach the Americas is still being uncovered through archaeology and scientific research. Although many details remain unknown, their extraordinary journeys remind us that exploration, courage, and adaptation have always been part of the human story. Not every land was covered with forests or rivers. Some regions were dry, hot, and unforgiving. Survival depended on learning new ways to live. Finding fresh water became the most important skill. A hidden spring could mean the difference between life and death. Beyond the desert, the land opened into endless plains filled with wildlife. Every new environment offered another chance to survive. Many communities moved throughout the year. Their homes were designed to be built quickly and left behind just as easily. Success no longer depended on strength alone. Careful planning and teamwork made even the largest animals easier to hunt. Rivers connected distant lands. They carried people, ideas, and traditions across regions that once seemed impossible to reach. People began recording important memories through simple artwork. These images preserved stories long before written language existed. Every successful hunt brought more than food. It strengthened the community and reminded everyone that survival depended on working together. Generation after generation, explorers continued moving eastward, discovering forests rich with wildlife and natural resources. Over thousands of years, these early migrations transformed a single courageous journey into countless communities spread across North America. Their legacy continues to shape our understanding of the earliest chapters of human history. After countless generations of exploration, some communities finally reached another great ocean. Their ancestors had once crossed unknown waters, and now their descendants stood before a new horizon. The ocean once again became the center of daily life. Fishing, gathering shellfish, and trading resources allowed villages to flourish. Every generation inherited thousands of years of experience. Knowledge became humanity's greatest survival tool. As the Ice Age came to an end, the world slowly changed. Rising sea levels reshaped coastlines and covered many of the ancient routes once traveled by early explorers. The first paths carved through forests gradually became familiar travel routes used by generations of people. Today, archaeologists continue searching for clues left behind by these early travelers. Every discovery adds another piece to the story. Sometimes the most powerful evidence isn't a weapon or a shelter. It's a footprint preserved in the earth for thousands of years. Every new archaeological discovery helps scientists better understand how and when the first people reached the Americas. Research continues to refine the story as new evidence emerges. Few journeys in human history required more courage. Families crossed unknown waters, adapted to unfamiliar environments, and gradually spread across an entire continent. The names of those first explorers have been lost to time, but their courage lives on through the archaeological evidence they left behind and the enduring histories of the indigenous peoples whose ancestors settled and thrived across the Americas. Their journey reminds us that every great chapter of human history begins with one brave step into the unknown. The ocean has erased countless traces of the first explorers. Yet every wave reminds us that someone once crossed these waters with nothing more than courage and determination. Many ancient camps now lie beneath the sea because coastlines changed dramatically after the Ice Age. Some of history's greatest clues may still remain hidden underwater. Every year, scientists uncover new evidence that helps explain how the first people reached the Americas. Each discovery brings us a little closer to understanding their incredible journey. Even the simplest tools tell remarkable stories. They reveal how people hunted, built shelters, prepared food, and adapted to unfamiliar environments. Long before history books existed, courage was remembered through stories. Each generation honored the determination of those who first explored the unknown. Thousands of years separate us from those first travelers, yet their choices still influence our understanding of humanity's past. One small voyage opened the door to generations of exploration. From a single journey came countless communities that adapted to every landscape across the continent. Exploration has always been part of human nature. Curiosity pushed our ancestors beyond familiar horizons and into lands no one had ever seen. Many questions remain unanswered. Researchers continue debating routes, timelines, and technologies, making this one of archaeology's most fascinating mysteries. Although we may never know every detail, the courage of those first explorers continues to inspire new discoveries and new generations of researchers. Who exactly were the first people to arrive? Archaeologists continue searching for the answer, and every discovery reshapes our understanding of the past. Sometimes a single stone tool is enough to rewrite an entire chapter of history. Over thousands of years, early communities adapted to nearly every environment across the continent, creating rich and diverse ways of life. Their legacy survives through archaeological evidence and through the long histories of the indigenous peoples whose ancestors lived across the Americas for millennia. Every excavation allows us to look a little farther into humanity's distant past. Beyond every horizon lies another story waiting to be discovered, just as it did thousands of years ago. We may never know their names, but their determination forever changed the course of human history. The story of human migration is still being written. Every generation adds another piece to the puzzle. From one courageous voyage came thousands of years of exploration, adaptation, and survival. Their journey reminds us that curiosity has always driven humanity forward. The first journey across ancient waters remains one of humanity's greatest mysteries. As new discoveries continue to emerge, our understanding of the past keeps evolving. If you enjoyed exploring this incredible story, join us for more adventures into ancient history, archaeology, and the remarkable journeys that shaped our world.